Yo, what's good, YouTube? What's good, man? It's your boy Mel. You know the vibes. You locked in. You heard we locked in. I'm trying to keep my goals and keep my promises. I made to myself, and the goal and promises I made to my fiance, my wife. I want to do this. I feel like it's time for me to share my story, share what I've learned through this life. I'm about to be 30 years old. I'm 29 right now. Tell you guys what I've learned on this journey of semen retention. So about me. I'm telling you a little about myself. I'm telling you all my flaws, my mistakes, and what led me to a big change in my life. The biggest thing that the reason why I wanted to change is because I wanted to be different than my parents. Different than my dad, be a better man, and especially treat women with respect. Just treat them different. That's what I want. And during that time, I was dating someone for 7 years. I did love this person, but my actions didn't show I loved her, if that makes any sense. You can say, oh, I love you so much to somebody, but if you keep on repeating the same mistakes over and over, the same patterns, that's not love. You feel me? That's just you stuck in your old way, don't want to change, and you don't value this person because you know that this person is going to keep taking you back. And this is something that I've learned about myself, but not only learned about myself, observing and watching other men do this to women. You know what I'm saying? For me, I know, women have their ways also, but me personally, I believe women act the way they do because of us. You know what I'm saying? Because of us. And it's facts. We are leaders. We are natural born leaders. You know what I'm saying? Women are gonna follow us through whatever. You feel me? They pick up our patterns, they pick up our behavior, whatever it is, for me. And then they're a reflection, and this is what I've learned. So yeah, back to the story. Yeah, I was with this person for 7 years. I treated her bad, disrespecting her, doing a lot, and I only saw her as someone but I was just lustful. You feel me? I was addicted to pornography during that time. And for me to feel some connection or some type of love, I had to have sex with her, but when we didn't, of course I loved her in a way, but in reality, I didn't truly love her, the way that I said I did because of my actions. My actions said it all. And I was getting older. She was about to become a nurse, and I value that, because I didn't want to be this guy still struggling and she's, leveling up. It intimidated me in a way, because I wanted to be on her level, I wanted to be on the same track, it's making money, we traveling, we doing all these things. So I stumbled upon semen retention, like people that's like they were motivating me. I started watching a lot of videos on, just different things. But the first video I ever watched was semen retention, and what the benefits were, what were gonna happen to me, and I wanted to try it. I wanted to see if I went on this streak, week, is how would I feel. And this is someone that suffered, with a lot of insecurities. I was very doubtful. I was very negative. I had no type of positive energy within me. I blamed everybody for my mistakes. Not everybody. During that time, I didn't really blame anyone. I definitely blame myself because I was wondering, why am I this way? Why is everybody leveling up and I'm still in this situation? as an adult, I don't blame my parents because we can't blame them for the things that they didn't know. You know, now that we are older, we're capable of understanding what's going on in the world. You feel me? We're able to understand what our parents didn't know. You know, like we're able to comprehend it. So we really can't blame others for how our life turns out, you know, because now we're in a place where we know right from wrong, we know the rights, you feel me, but we still end up doing the wrong, you know. So still with her during that time, this is like the 6-7 year we was on and off in our relationship, and I'm homeless. I ended up finding a room. This is when, you know, I started to Semen Retention and I started working out, you know. The first week was different. You know what I'm saying? The urges were there. I was fighting, y'all. But I ended up telling her that I couldn't be with her anymore because, you know, I didn't know how to be a man. I didn't know how to treat her. And I need to figure things out for myself. You know what I'm saying? So it definitely hit me a lot when, you know, we actually did split, because this is the person that I actually wanted to spend the rest of my life with during that time, you know. But deep down, I knew that she wasn't the one because of just our journey, you know, just our path, you know. We both outgrew each other, you know. She outgrew me, and I eventually outgrew her, you know. Because over the years, I definitely hit her up, you know, time and time, trying to get her back, you know, and she already went on a higher frequency than me. You know, she had different values, you know, different plans in life. So yeah. So my longest streak on Semen Retention has been eight months. That's been my longest. 8 months. Definitely 8 months. It was 7 months, but then I jumped to 8. I started working out because I always been insecure about my chest. My chest has always been like my biggest thing, and you know, the more I started retaining, I definitely felt this confidence in me, you know, that I could do anything. Now when I say that I could do anything, you know, it propelled me forward. You know, it's like I wasn't guilty of nothing. You know, watching pornography, holding, and, you know, releasing. I was sure of myself every single time. Every time I would retain, yes, I will have a little slip of doubt. But this is where the devil, the enemy, this is what he knows, you know, because as a man, that's our masculinity. If you feel me, that's our power. The more we retain, the more things are just drawn to us because we're not chasing the things of this world. You feel me? I knew I had a glow because every time I looked in the mirror, like I just looked different. You know, everybody kept telling me I look different, and I'm like, what? And then I started to realize it and start to notice it also. You know, a lot of guys say, you know, the female attraction, yeah. The reason why that happens is because now you have this self-control. Like, remember, we're always lusting after women. This is what we grew up knowing. You know, this chasing females, you know, going to the mall, doing this and doing that. So now you're at a place where, you know, you're not trying to look at women this way, so your head is a straightforward, and women, they're picking up on that. You know, like, oh, like, you don't think I'm pretty, or, you know, whatever. So now they're drawn to you. That's how I see it. You feel me? You know, but it made me dig deeper into reading more, you know, trying to understand the universe, trying to understand my mind, because for me also was my thoughts. You know, we don't realize that what we think and keep on thinking about, we create this reality. You know what I'm saying? That we try to be like, oh, I don't want this to happen, but if we keep on thinking about it, what you think is gonna happen. that right there, the thing that you don't want to happen is happening, because now you're manifesting it so much in your head, you know. And that's what I used to do. So every time I would do this, it would fucking happen. And then I started, and on Semen Retention, I started to realize the more I think positive and really focus on that and push myself, then I'll get the things that I want out of life. Feel me? So I always got the negatives. Now I'm definitely getting the positives. You know? I'm not gonna make this video too long because I definitely want to keep on making more. But yeah, now fast forward now. Reading a lot of books like Napoleon Hill, all his books. He talked about the mind. He talked about semen retention. He talked about positive thinking. You feel me? In life, failures is just a disguise for success. And this is what I've learned. You feel me? Failure is just something to look at, to improve on, you know. Embrace failure, because I feel like once you keep on embracing that, you're not always gonna keep on failing. You know exactly what not to do the next time. You feel me? Yeah. So fast forward now, I'm on this 2-year journey living in Brooklyn on Semen Retention. You know, I was definitely on and off during that time, but then the second year, that's when I went on my actually 7 months. Show me 7 months. Because the first year I wasn't really on it, but then now gradually going into that second year, that's when I started to go on Semen Retention. You feel me? That's when I hit my 7 months. And my best friend, my bro, you know, he ended up moving in with me, which was wrong. I wasn't supposed to do that, you know. I ended up getting kicked out. He ended up getting kicked out. And we ended up going back to Queens now, back to our old, like, you know, this is where we grew up at, his house. And everything happened for a reason. You feel me? All the things that I was learning in my life, it's like the universe, God, was trying to tell me it's time for you to level up. It's time for me to put you in the field. You feel me? To understand yourself, to know yourself, to understand people, to observe them, to see that you're not the only one that's going through this. You're not the only one, Mel. You're not the only one. You feel me? And this is what I've learned, and this is what I've seen. And I stayed with my bro for like a month. Couldn't stay there no more, so I ended up moving in with my mom for like a week, and then this is when I went into the shelter. This is like 2023. Yeah, 2023. I went into the shelter. 2022, yeah, around that time. You know, I have the facts in somewhere in my phone. I just gotta look at it, but it's definitely 2023 because I was in the shelter for 2 years. Yeah, 2023. So I ended up leaving. My mom went into the shelter. July, I want to say July. Nope. Like August 2023. During that time, I was in an intake shelter first, and then after that, I stayed there for like maybe 2 weeks, and then they transitioned me into the main shelter I was, which was in Bronx. I was in there. You know what I'm saying? This is where everything started to change for me. You feel me? I was just in there. I was around maybe about 15 to 20 guys in a room. You know, 3 showers in there, 3 sinks, maybe like two bathrooms, 2 stalls, you know, in the bathroom. So yeah, we had lockers. We was just sharing it, sharing this. I'm not used to this. You feel me? I'm used to being by myself, going in isolation mode, not being around so much guys. But it was showing me that we're all the same. You feel me? I was hiding my pain, hiding my flaws and all that. But not like how these guys were. You feel me? Yeah, I used to smoke a lot, but it wasn't really for me in a way. But you can see the pain and insecurity on these guys, or the fear, the doubt. You know, you could feel it. And the first couple months, I didn't really speak much, but everybody wanted to talk to me. You know, they saw something in me. They wanted to speak to me. You know, and then I'm not someone that likes to work for other people during that. You know, I want to work for myself. Obviously, now I need to work in order to make money, because I do have a fiance and I do have a stepson and I do have a kid on the way also. You know, I'm trying to think smarter, be more logical in the things that I do, you know, and be there for my family. So, and also trying to lock in and just work for me and help my family propel, you know, if that make any sense. Yeah. And I'm in the shelter, and these guys are telling me, I'm telling them, you know, I'm fearful, you know, I'm secure, you know, I'm this and that, and they're telling me, it's like the universe is talking through them to me to tell me that, you know, I need to man up. You know what I'm saying? I need to go after my dreams and go after what I want and stop thinking these things. You feel me? It's time to apply. Everything that I was learning, I needed to apply it. And I wasn't applying it. You know what I'm saying? I definitely wasn't applying it. And I applied it, and I started a moving company. You know, this is fast forward now, 2025, right? June, that's when I started this company. Then July, then August, you know, I was just working. And this is when I moved back into my bro, the one that I moved in with me, and then we got kicked out. I moved back into his crib, you know. Well, it wasn't his, it was like somebody that was living there that we knew, and his mom, right? And she helped me so much. You feel me? It's like the universe wanted me to be around her, be around them, to understand and build my confidence. You feel me? Know my worth, know who I am, you know, stop doubting myself, you know. And they gave me that little boost that I needed, and I needed that. You feel me? I was learning so many things, learning how to fix things. My energy was so high during that time. This is when I went on 8 months of semen retention, you know. And I ended up relapsing around October because I had sex with an ex. You know, this is not the 7-year one. This is the one from high school. I ended up having sex with her, but the energy was so off. You know what I'm saying? The energy was off. Not bad, y'all. Yeah, the energy was off, and I knew, you know, I didn't want to be with this person. I just had this feeling, you know. It was good for like maybe a month. Around the ending of October-ish, this is where my fiance came in, you know. She's my best friend for, like I told you in the last video, for 16 years. You know, I know her for this long. We was always on and off, but I always had something for her, you know, since high school. We always had something for her, you know, even though we were best friends. She knew that. I guess during that time we wasn't right for each other, you know. I don't know. And we ended up stopped talking maybe a few months. We stopped talking 2025 around May, March, April, like around May-ish, I think. You know, because I was trying to explain something to her, but I kept shutting it out in a way, you know. And yeah, I don't know. But then when I ended up relapsing, you know, and it didn't work out with my ex, I needed somebody to talk to, and she was the only person that I was comfortable speaking with, you know. And she felt like she just understands everything. You know what I'm saying? The advice she gave me, she's nurturing, she's real, and we was on the same path, you know? So, as when I hit her up, I'm telling her all of this, you know, we started talking. And I'm still on semen retention now, you know, because I stopped, you know, doing that, so I'm on semen retention. Not that long. We was talking regularly, you feel me? Just like before, you know. She obviously has a kid. I knew that. All I knew was I wanted to be with this girl. Like, I needed her in my life, and I confessed that to her, you know, and she wanted the same thing. you know. Now we're best friends, you know, so we don't know each other fully by living with each other. Because when you live with somebody, it's a different feeling, it's a different vibe, everything, you know. But yeah, my birthday now, December 20th. You know, she made me food. She really showed out, you know, and Dad really taught me a lot. You know, taught me a lot. Taught me a lot. Nah, it didn't teach me a lot. I just started to realize what type of woman she was. You know, the fact that she cooked for me and all that. She bought me a gift. I got my first journal. She bought me. You know, I write in that journal every day, man. And yeah. But it's gonna be more. But this is what this journey has got me to. And now, you know, she's pregnant. Being on Semen Retention has given me, like, it has propelled me, you know, it has given me this boost that I need, and it's giving me the confidence to actually go after what I want, and in order to help others. You know, in this life, I know that I've noticed when people come around me, I'm able to help them in ways how I carry myself. You feel me? Me speaking life into them. You feel me? We live in this world, and a lot of us don't even speak life into ourselves. We don't even speak life into others. You feel me? We have to understand that words are powerful. Words are powerful, bro. The things that we say to others, things that we even say to ourselves, you feel me? It could cause a negative impact, and we have to realize this. You know, it's more than just holding in our semen. You know, it's more. That's our essence. That's our life. That's our masculinity. You feel me? So yeah. So this is what I've learned. There's more to it. Like I said, me making these videos is to push myself and to show my lady that we could do this. We could do this. No fear, no insecurity, no doubt. We could push ourselves. You know, we all can push ourselves. Y'all can push yourself, and I dead believe in y'all. You heard? So yeah, thank you. My name is Mel. You know, subscribe, like, you know, comment, whatever you want to do. I appreciate it. Yeah.